What is up, Alphas? Welcome to our next Alpha interview with Barbara from Vintage Muse by Barb. Barbara, welcome to the Alpha interview. Do you want to share with our audience what it is that you sell in your shop?
Yes, I upcycle, repurpose. I buy old textiles, and that's a passion of mine. And then I recreate Christmas ornaments and other home decor from those. So I repurpose into new.
That's awesome. That's great. And this has so many questions swimming around in my head. So is it ever hard to recreate popular designs because you are having to repurpose in order to make your products?
Yeah, I can make hearts all out of one quilt or one old textile. And then I just put a variation for each different one. They're never identical, but they're always the same. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, of course. And that makes every piece a little bit unique. So even if the design is the same general design, everybody's getting their own unique piece.
Exactly. And I learned that from you guys, instead of just putting a one of a kind, to actually do the variations, because they're the same, even though they're different.
Yeah, and then you can build up that listing quality score, which obviously is helping you because you've got a lot of sales.
Yeah, I'm excited. The first 4+ years that I was on Etsy, I think I had 37 sales, and we've gotten well over 1,000 since then. I think I'm up to 1,200.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
And your branding is so crisp. You have such crisp and beautiful branding. That's the first thing that I noticed when I went into your shop, because a lot of the times when I do my Etsy shop critiques, I'll look at banners and they'll be a little bit blurry, but yours is so nice. It's so pretty. And right when I get into your shop, I can understand the message that you're trying to send to me, which is something that we teach in HAA. So that's great. When exactly did you join HAA? How long has it been?
In December of 2021, not very long.
Okay, cool. So you haven't been in for very long. What made you decide to join in the first place?
Well, I've been in business even since I was a child. I used to make stuff at the kitchen table and take it door to door for Christmas shopping money.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
But I've been in this kind of business for probably about 40 years. So my age is showing there. And I had a brick and mortar store for a while in California when we lived there. My husband was in the military, kind of like Mark, but older. And and then I've done craft shows for almost 40 years, in-person vendor events. And I'm my knees, I had those replaced and I'm not doing so hot, but I don't know a whole lot about social media marketing and that kind of stuff. And you guys just had the money back guarantee and a lot of information that I was able to find from you beforehand. And I thought, what you've told me so far for free, I've learned a lot. Imagine what I can learn if I pay for it.
Awesome.
So that's why, because the content I got for free guided me into the paid content.
That's fantastic. I don't think that I got to see a lot of your brand before you started implementing, but obviously there's been like significant growth just in the last few years that you've had your Etsy shop running and you hit that nice big sales spike. What do you think are like the number one things that you did for your brand that have helped it to grow, or that when you implemented, you were starting to notice more traffic coming in?
I worked on creating an atmosphere that was cozy, friendly, pretty, girly, happy stuff. A lot of my customers are my age, which made it much easier since I'm not trying to there isn't anybody older, but since I'm not trying to do the younger crowd, unless they're shopping for their mom or their grandma. But it was stuff that I like, so it really merged together well. My grandma taught me how to do a lot of crafts. And I wanted something that kind of honored her and fit in with the pretty and practical kind of all at the same time, and seasonal, which I know people really like.
That's awesome. I love that. And I even though I'm probably not in your target market, what I love about your brand is anybody can hop into your shop and immediately understand the feelings, because it almost reminds me of there are these really cute antique shops like on our main strips that have like the little white Victorian birdhouses and, you know, the wicker day beds, and it just all, when I look at your shop, I can see your items fitting into these really pretty little vintage shops that we often see, you know, on like little strips of old mom and pop shops. And I love that. So here's an interesting question for you. If you were able to go back, let's say that we can rewind time and you were able to do things all over again, is there anything that you wish you would have done differently or done faster in your initial growth stages or when you very first started your business on Etsy?
Yeah, I wish I hadn't tried jewelry.
Oh.
I was a big flop. I wish I had stayed true to myself and the things that I enjoy making and I'm good at and knowledgeable about, instead of just saying, oh, well, jewelry looks like it's selling, I think I'll do that. It didn't work. As soon as I went back to my stuff, you know, with a little more information, it made a big difference. But that wasn't until like spring of 2021. Those first 4 years, I was trying to do jewelry. It didn't work. The things I learned from making jewelry have helped me continue forward with my stuff. But yeah, once I was true to myself, instead of trying to be someone else, it just made a huge difference. I was much more successful as me.
That's great.
We try to make that point quite a bit, not only learning how to sell your products properly, but also learning about your industry before going into it, making sure that it's something that you're going to be interested in doing. Because if it does blow up, like your shop has definitely grown quite significantly since you started, you're going to want to be able to maintain doing that and not hate doing it. So obviously, I might be making assumptions, but I'm assuming upcycling does have its challenges, finding materials and finding things to do. What are maybe some challenges that you face in starting your business or trying to run your business as you've moved into textiles away from jewelry and things like that? What are some challenges?
But I've always done textiles. I just kind of took a hiatus to try jewelry. That didn't work, obviously. And over the years with my brick and mortar store and having started out so long ago, I've made a lot of contacts over the years. So there are people in places who will say, oh, hey, I've got 25 of these. You want them? And it's like, well, how much? And, you know, the whole haggling, bartering, trading stuff. So the worst part is just standard materials are harder to get now, and prices have gone up, not just for shipping, but for everything else. And it's like, gosh, they're paying more at a yard sale so that they can call and say, hey, Barb, I've got 25 of these. Do you want them? And they're not getting them as cheap as they were. So it's costing me a lot more. And I don't want to try to just gouge or take advantage of my customers. I want to take good care of them. And I've had to raise prices, but kind of creeping up me and the Federal Reserve, you know, 0.5% at a time, because I do have to still cover my costs, but I want to be fair and take good care of my customers too.
Yeah,
and you see that happening across every industry. So it shouldn't scare your customers off too bad.
No, and a lot of people are so afraid to do that. They say, you know, oh, I don't want to raise my prices. I'm too scared to. Or if I raise my prices, people will stop buying. But usually that's not the case. People value your work for what it's worth. Have you noticed any like pushback, or have customers been upset that you've had to raise those prices, or has it been a nice smooth transition?
It's been really smooth. And I think if I had to defend myself, I would ask, would you rather have one item cheap this year, or 6 months down the road, would you rather have to go buy something really crappy from someone else that's not the quality and doesn't have the experience background, the quality of work that I have after 40 years? Because that's exactly what will happen. The fastest way I know how to go out of business quickly is to sell things too cheap, you know, or to cut corners. So I have to make what's good and charge what it's worth.
Absolutely. And it's like I always say, it's easier to sell one $100 product than it is to sell $101 product. Not to mention the labor, the time, the shipping of the product, the customer service. And
not alienating your customers, you know, charging what your products are worth and doing what you have to do. You know, it might present hard times at time, because obviously you can have a little bit of a harder time selling things, but it'll keep the customers happy in the long run because you aren't, like you said, cutting corners or selling a crappy product that nobody wants and ruining the customer relationship. You're maintaining your
Quality.
integrity. You're keeping your integrity and you're being honest with the customer. So that I like that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So here's an interesting question for you. If there was somebody, we'll say maybe they're in the textile industry and they're in a similar position to you where they're kind of, they get to scavenge their materials and create something really, really cool, but they haven't made that big step to actually put their products out there because they're nervous that maybe people won't buy them or people won't like them. What would you tell to somebody who is interested in starting a journey to start their own business in this industry that you've learned through your years of experience doing it?
Do the best you can, whatever that is. If it may not be better than mine or worse than mine, but don't look to other people. Be true to yourself. Do the best job that you can. When you know more or know better, do more or do better. And if you don't put yourself out there, you'll never be successful. You have to be out there. You have to be where people can see you in order to have any response. And listen to what your customers are telling you and work from there. That doesn't mean that everybody says, gee, I wish you'd make a pink chicken, that you should do that. Oh, I made a lot of pink chickens. I don't know what you guys call them, but I made a lot. I was like, when I was starting out, hurry, do this, do that. And I tried to please everybody, and that doesn't work either. But you can listen to the feedback, and if you get enough that says, gee, I wish that all of your stuff was a little bit bigger. Okay, well, make the pattern larger. I wish your stuff was a little less expensive. Either learn to source things for less or I do everything production style. I never make one of a kind anymore, generally. Once in a while I do, but not often. But learn a better process, streamline your process. That will save you time. And that might keep your products that little 50 cents less that all of a sudden you do really well. So you have to kind of work on everything, but don't be afraid. Fear won't help you. Doing something, action will. And don't get real frustrated. Just keep making forward progress. Even if it's only an inch, it's better than you were yesterday.
That's great advice.
That's a really positive outlook.
Yeah, that's awesome. And that's something that we teach right at the beginning of HAA is about the fear mentality and how fear of failure isn't something to really fear because through failures we learn. That's how the human brain learns. If you never fail, then you'll never be able to outgrow your failures and learn from them. So
and that is a really common thing that we will get emails about when we ask people like what is the hardest thing about getting going for them, and fear of failure, fear of rejection, imposter syndrome, stuff like that are real big. They're afraid to just take the leap and get into it, and they don't realize that those failures are what make you successful in the long run. It's all the little failures that build up that internal strength that allow you to do better, and you'll never know if what you're doing is the right thing if you don't try.
And you said you've been doing this for a really, really long time. I'm sure that you've also had your fair share of things that you've had to overcome that you've learned from.
Oh, and I still do. The difference now is nobody sees them. I don't have to try. It's like, oh, this is horrible, Barb. Don't even show that one. Donate it or something. Throw it away. Repurpose it. But yeah, everybody has failures. We don't always look like, when you get to a certain point, you don't look like you're failing. But everybody has failures. And you learn and you move on and you find the next joyful thing.
That's great. That's great. So we've asked everybody, because we're nearing the end, and oh my goodness, these interviews, I say it every time we have an interview. I always say, like, I cannot believe how fast the time goes when you're doing these conversations. But if you were talking to somebody who was interested in joining the Handmade Alpha Academy when it opens, but maybe they were nervous because it is a big investment and it is a lot of time to work through our program, what might you tell someone who is nervous based on your experiences and how it's helped you?
Go for it. I was nervous. It was not an inexpensive endeavor. But I initially had seen you the year before, and I saved up my little pennies for a year. And I paid for it out of income that I earned. So if you put yourself out there, you make mistakes, you learn, you sell a little, save part of that back for education, because education, nobody can ever take away from you, whether trends change or colors, or, whether you discover you're not a good jewelry maker or you don't sell jewelry well. Do what you do well. Save a little bit of that. And then it's not so bad. I mean, it's like what Mark says, eating an elephant one bite at a time, which is also something I say a lot. Just save up your pennies and go for it, because the knowledge you can acquire will more than make up for that money that seems so expensive at first. And from then until now, from then until you get going through the program, you will just, oh, I lost you again, darn it. You will discover that that money is, relatively speaking, insignificant compared to what you have learned. It's hard to buy an education that will teach you practical skills like we learn in HAA.
Absolutely. And we have so many alphas who they've got business degrees and marketing degrees, and they learn, they learn things that will help them work for someone else. They learn how to be great employees, but they don't necessarily learn the skills to start their own business. They don't learn the things that are going to directly be applicable to doing this on their own. But I'm happy that you saved. That's one of the things that we always ask people. Please don't take out a loan. Don't sell your assets. Don't go into debt. If
don't make your financial life unstable for the sake of doing it. We will always be here.
Put that little bit back. And then when enrollment opens, if you haven't had to dip into it, then you know that you're safe to invest. And if you did have to dip into it, then maybe you're not really in a position to join yet, and you can keep saving. So I'm really happy that you pointed that out, because we try to not be those, those coaches that are like, oh, it's so worth the investment. Go take out a loan. And
exactly. And we don't promise any quick fixes or anything like that.
Fast.
We want to be that long-term education that holds up and can be applied at any level of business. Whether you're a beginner or you've been selling for 10 years, there's something that you can find in there that'll help you make yourself better.
Absolutely.
And that's the goal.
That's awesome. Well, Barbara, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Do you have any final words of wisdom or advice that you want to share with any of the alphas who might be watching out there, who are nervous to put themselves out there or start their businesses, or maybe they have a business that just isn't quite there yet and they're just chugging along?
Well, I don't think I have anything more for them necessarily, but I want to thank you guys, because your skill set that you have shared with me has made a huge impact in my life and will going forward. I'm done saving for the course, so now I'm saving for a trip to Europe next fall. From the money I've earned, I have to work harder to learn more.
That's great. That's so fun.
Thank you.
Well, Barbara, thank you so much for hanging out. Guys, all of Barbara's links are going to be down below in the description. Make sure that you go check out her shop, because her branding is absolutely fabulous. And we will see you in the next Alpha interview. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.